want to welcome everybody to the 7 Streams of Income webinar. We have a special guest with us today. For those who don't know, 7 Streams is a series of presentations we do, bringing different streams of income to people in our community. And this is Kidpreneur Month. So we have an entrepreneur with us who's created an app specifically for kids and helping them manage their finances. We have Gregg Mursett with us. He is a certified financial planner. He created an app called getbusykid, which he's going to tell us about, which we recently started using for our children. So you want to add anything to the introduction?
No, I think you have it. I actually, just to add to it, like Maya just said, we've been using that for about a month now and absolutely loved it. So for Kidpreneur Month, I said, hey, let me see if I can find out the creator of the app, because it would be really cool. It's something that a lot of parents don't know that's out there. And it's something to me that covers all the bases of what a child really should learn in regards to finance. So I was super, super excited when we heard that he would be able to join us. So I'll turn it over to Gregg.
I'm gonna cry. That was perfect, man. You too. I love what you're doing with your kids and everything else you're doing. So congratulations. Good to be with you. So what do you want to talk about first? Want to talk about how this even started?
Yes. So how did you come about with the getbusykid app?
Okay. So first and foremost, I've got 6 kids myself. Okay. Believe it or not, pray for me, send me money. No, this is, I've got 6 kids myself, and I'm a certified financial planner. And when you get those 2 things together and put them into a blender, this is what you get. Okay. You get a guy really worried about teaching his kids fundamentally 2 big things. And I learned these 2 big things really from observing my clients over the years. I'd managed people's money and done investment work for them for 20 years. And all of them had a couple things in common. They worked really hard and they were smart with their money. Like those 2 things are fundamentally the most important things that I kept seeing in my clients over and over and over. So I thought, okay, I got to get those 2 things into my kids. So how in the world do you do it? And so that's really how getbusykid came to be, is trying to figure out, how do I teach my kids work ethic? Like get them off the couch, extract them from the couch, because that's where they like to stay, and get them to quit just scrolling and messing around, get them off the couch, doing stuff, earning money, and then managing that money properly. And that's really kind of where it all started, and it's kind of snowballed from there. But I'm not unique. That's what I found out, Mel. I'm unique because I got so many of them, but I'm not unique in the fact that that's what we're trying to teach our kids. And that's the problem that most parents have, is figuring that out in a world where we're not raising kids on farms very often anymore, right? We're like kind of a much more urban lifestyle. And so we got to figure out how we do that. And what we do is we use technology. So that's where getbusykid started.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, you're a busy dad.
Right.
You can coin a new phrase. I'm sure your wife is busy too. But no, I love that. Hard work and being smart with your money. Those are the themes that you want to inject into your kids. And, like you said, you're not alone in that. My question is, with being smart with your money, it's not taught in school, right? Kids aren't taught how to manage money, how to make smart financial decisions. We all have to learn that on our own and through osmosis and friends, family. So what are some ways that your app and your system teaches kids the being smart with money part? Yeah,
so that is a very interesting thing. And whenever I ask a parent, do you think they should teach kids like personal finance in schools? 100% of them say, well, yeah, I don't understand why they don't. And a few schools do, but they typically teach it, I think, too little, too late. They teach it in high school, and they teach like economics. And I mean, I get the difference between finance and economics. Economics is like supply and demand and all that stuff. And I even literally I have a senior and he's in economics, and he's like, this is like all common sense. I don't even know why I'm in this class. And so, but personal finance is not so common sense. And so I don't understand why they don't teach it, but I think savvy parents need to just recognize, even if they start teaching it in middle school and, you know, elementary school, like I think they should, even if they start doing that in a meaningful way, you still have a problem. And that problem is the teachers are never going to be the source of the money. Okay. The kid is only going to get money from their parents. They're never going to get money from their teacher. And so that kind of breaks down the system, because if you ask me, kids get smart with their money, like you asked, kids get smart with their money when they're using their own money to do stuff. Okay. And they have to earn that money first, of course. And then once they get it, if they start making decisions with that money, even if they're bad decisions at the beginning, they have to learn by doing. And if they learn by doing, it's going to stick. If you just learn in some class and, you know, whatever, and half of it's going over your head, the other half you're kind of sleepy, you're not going to get most of it anyway. So you have to learn by doing. And so I think that's probably the most important thing that you can do with your kids, is teach them by letting them do it. And it's always going to come right back to your house, because you're the source of the money, like it or not.
Yeah. That's great. Well, we definitely agree. We were just
Absolutely.
joking about that the other day. We're driving past McDonald's, and our kid was like, "Can I stop? Can I stop? Can I get some McDonald's?" And we were like, first of all, we don't eat McDonald's.
Right.
You don't eat McDonald's.
I like McDonald's.
Second of all, you have an allowance. So if you want to stop, we can use your money from your allowance.
Yep.
And lo and behold, he changed his mind.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I don't want McDonald's again.
You know what I call that? Okay, I call that OPM, other people's money.
Right.
And it's really easy to spend OPM. Okay, no problem. I got it. If you're buying the burgers, I'm in. Let's go. But if you're not the one earning that money, it's easy. But when you're earning your own money, you're thinking like twice, right? It's like, maybe I don't want to do it. And I think it's even better when a kid earns their own money, they've got their own card in their hand, you know, in their wallet or in their phone case or whatever. And you're like, hey, just, you know, it's up to you. Knock yourself out. If you want to buy it, go ahead, swipe it, make it happen. And then when they learn, like, that swipe means I had to clean my room, I had to scoop up the dog poop, I had to make my bed, I had to wash the van, whatever it is. When they learn that lesson, the whole game's different. And they start thinking, put that card right back, and I'm not gonna buy that certain thing or buy the McDonald's or whatever, right? Super important stuff. So good job, Mom and Dad.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that my son is starting to like, even in regards to the app, is he's liking to see that he's accumulating money. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, with you having your 6 children, were they all at one point on the app as well? And if they were, how did you go about investments with them, and then and keeping track of, you know, it's easier if it's written down. So our oldest son is 7. Mm-hmm. So I make him, he's really into now learning how to count money and things of that nature. How did you go about utilizing the app to also educate? Because he loves seeing himself accumulating and counting, like, oh my God, I got this amount and this amount. But he also likes to give back. So he likes donating. He likes investing, because ironically, I was talking to him today in regards to a project in school where he has to create a business. And within that business, he is a slew of stuff that he has to do. And one of the questions was, who's going to fund this business? And he asked me, he was like, well, how much do I have saved for my allowance? Yeah. And I said, okay, well, we'll go and check how much you have saved for your allowance. And he was like, okay, well, minus what I have to save, how much do I have left? Do I have enough? And it completely shocked me, because I would have never expected for him to say that. But I think it's because I've been talking to him about those kind of 3 pillars from the app.
Yeah.
Is that conversations you kind of have with your children?
Yes. So I think that's the perfect conversations to have, right? Which is, once again, it's this balanced financial approach. And all of a sudden, if you start that from the very beginning, okay, literally, and it's easier kind of, it's actually easier with technology because it happens automatically, okay? When a kid goes into BusyKid and they like do some work and they earn some money, or even if they get a bonus from their parent or whatever the case may be, that money splits up automatically. A little bit goes into save, a little bit goes into share, a little bit goes into spend, boom, just automatically. And the great thing about that is if you as a parent want to like adjust that, you can, but we make it as easy as possible. And we do that based upon the kid's age. So if they come in the door and they're 7, we're going to say, okay, 50% of that's going to go to savings, 10% of that's going to go to share, and 40% of that's going to go to spend. Okay, pretty good allocation. And as they get older, you're going to have to save a little less and you're going to have to spend a little more because they want more stuff and it's more expensive because all of a sudden they're going to be in, junior high and they're going to want those Nike shoes and it's going to be like $120 and you're like, what? So you're going to have to let them spend a little bit more of their money. But that balanced financial approach is super important. And you kind of hit it on the nose, which is the nature of money has changed now. So kids don't see it as much like flying around. It's not like we like reach into our pocket and pull out a big wad of cash or especially coins. Like who carries around coins? Like who would do that? Not only are they kind of like stinky and kind of gross, but like they're noisy and who does that? Nobody does that anymore, right? So we have to teach them about money that's invisible. It's literally invisible. So they need to learn, and the only way they can learn is by, like I said, swipe that card and holy smokes, the number's changed. And that means something, right? Or I'm going to invest $20 into a stock. And maybe the kid likes Teslas, and every time one drives by, he looks at it. All right, cool. Let's invest $10 into Tesla or $20 into Tesla and like figure that out. I think go with what the kid likes. If he likes McDonald's, hey, let's not buy so many French fries. Let's buy some of their stock, right? That's a great way.
Exactly.
Or if Tesla, do that. Let them invest in something that they think is cool and they'll pay more attention to it. If they think it's cool and it's their own money, they're gonna be on that like you can't believe it. If it's somebody else's money and it's some stock they've never heard of or like some lame company, they don't even want to pay attention to it. So those are the keys. If it can be cool and it's their own money, they're on it. I can ask my 15-year-old right now, what is Disney trading at? And he knows because it's his own money and he likes Disney. So that's what you need to do.
Awesome.
I love it.
So Gregg, you talked about the 2 pillars where of people who've been successful financially is they work hard and they're smart with their money. So we talked a little bit about how you're teaching kids through your app how to be smart with their money. What about the hard work part, right? Because you mentioned, kids aren't on farms anymore. People aren't doing as much manual labor. Yeah, you still have some of those jobs out there, but how are you teaching kids through the app the value of hard work and actually earning that dollar through their efforts?
Yeah. So this is a great, like, if you think about it fundamentally, like how are you going to teach your kid how to work hard? Well, you got to give them stuff to do, right? I mean, you just literally have to give them stuff to do around the house. And those things, every family's a little bit different, right? And I understand the whole, well, I'm not paying my kid for chores. I mean, I buy him food and there's a roof over his head. Like, I get that whole argument, okay? I understand that. And there are things that you shouldn't pay your kid to do. Like, they should just be expected to do it, and that's just what they do. But if you're going to teach them about money, they've got to have some money to learn. And where are they going to get the money? Once again, you as a parent. So why not get some work out of them? Because I've searched high and low. There is not a job in the real world where you can go do nothing and still get paid. Like, that doesn't exist, right? So I think this is a perfect opportunity to teach your kids how to work, and every family is just a little bit different, right? You might pay them for certain things, and I might pay mine for a different set of different things. And there are also just straight up activities. Like if you want your kid to like walk the dog or run around the block because maybe he's getting a little heavy because he's sitting around too much, or you want him to go play basketball, those are great things too. Like motivate them. Money is a good motivator. It works for us as adults and it works for kids. So use that money to teach them not only how to work hard, but to get them motivated to accomplish the things that they need to accomplish.
So I know what's in the app myself because I'm on it, but what are some of the chores that you guys have listed in the app for kids to do?
So we got a whole preset list of them, and it goes from raking the leaves to washing the car to making their bed, doing the dishes. Wouldn't you like that, right?
Yep.
Clearing the table, mowing the lawn, trimming the bushes, like all the normal stuff that you would think we have in there already. And if we don't have it in there, you could just create a custom one.
Yep.
You want to say feed Fido and take a picture of Fido, great. All of a sudden, they're going to see a little picture of Fido, and it's going to say feed Fido, 25 cents, 50 cents, whatever you want. Boom. And that's going to motivate them. And so we've made it very easy. You can literally go out and take a picture of that bush in the front yard that you want trimmed and say, trim bush. and let them, make it happen. Clean the garage, like all that kind of stuff. That get the French fries out of the van that you spilled out of the McDonald's.
God, that would be us.
Yeah.
I get it.
Lord. One of the things I liked about it also is, like you said, the ability to customize it. Ironically, a lot of the chores that you guys had in there were ones that was age appropriate for him, so he was doing them anyway.
Beautiful.
And then I saw some additional ones, and I was like, oh, he can do that. And so I switched up some of his chores as well from some of the ones that I saw listed inside the app as well. Could you talk to a little bit about the structure of the app and how it actually works from the time that someone originally signs up for the app?
Yeah. I first want to say that's perfect. That's like a perfect, picture perfect way of mothering. Okay, I'll just say that. You're thinking like, well, he could do that. Like you're starting to stretch him a little bit. It's like, well, shoot, he can see over the handle. He can mow the lawn. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm being kind of funny about that, but like
you're right.
Teaching your kids, like you're not just going to be picking up your socks for the rest of your life. Like you got to do other stuff too. Right. And challenging them is super important. So what BusyKid is, when you start the app, literally you as a parent would sign up and you would create your family. Okay. You would create the kids in there, and then you literally just start assigning chores to them. And you can assign more than one at the same time. We make it pretty easy that way. You give them chores to do, and then literally we give you the allocation, so it splits up into the buckets automatically. And then once you set it up and you give your kids some chores to do, then it's just a matter of saying, hey guys, bust it out. Like, here are the chores we expect you to do every day. And they do those. And when they do them, they click them off. I did it, I did it, I did it. And then on Friday, you're going to get a little message from us, push notification, email, probably both, that say, hey, Friday, it's payday. That's like the real world again, right?
Yep.
It's payday. And little Johnny has busted it out and you owe him $20. Do you want to approve the payday? And so you approve the payday just like a boss would approve payroll, right? You approve that, and we're going to pull the money right from your checking account, bring it into our system, and then we automatically divide it up into saving, sharing, and spending right away. And in the save area, they can go and buy fractional shares of stock, which is super cool. In the share area, they can go and donate to charities. And in the spend area, they can actually put money onto their own debit card. So they can go out and swipe and buy stuff online just like the rest of us and learn a balanced financial approach. So that's, in a nutshell, that's it. Kids earn money, and then they save, they share, and they spend automatically every time.
Awesome. How's the reception been to the app?
So the app's been exploding. We've got thousands and thousands of people that have signed up. We had about 40,000 people last month. So it's growing like crazy. And once again, I think what that is it's just showing that a lot of people have the same problem and they're looking for a good solution for it. And I think it's so much more than just like, you know, giving your money to your kid on a card. Like that's part of it.
Right.
But it's a whole enchilada. And if you just think, well, I'll just give him money and he can spend it on a card, well, he's going to become even more entitled than he is now.
Exactly.
And he'll just be like, hey, I need some more money. I need some more money. Like that doesn't work in my world. Okay. So it's really important to have it be a balanced approach every single time. One of the features that's most popular in our system, and when you said, how is it received? This part of it has been received with like huge amounts of interest because sending a bonus to your kid is the most popular feature we've got, right? And think of it this way, like I've had this experience a million times. It's Saturday. I'm excited to get a lot of things done around the house, right? So I'm like, Mr. Hey, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I asked kid, you're going. And I said, hey, I want you to wash this car. It's a mess. And I'll give you $8 if you wash the car, right? And so they're busting it out. They're washing it. They're vacuuming it. They're wiping everything down. It's great. And what do they do right when they're done? They come right to me and say, Dad, the car is done. Come and check it out. So I go check it out. And I'm like, holy smokes, this thing looks great. Oh, you missed a little spot right there. Boom, boom, boom. He does it, fixes it. And then what do you do as a parent? You're like, he wants to get paid. You told him he $8.
Invoices due.
He wants to get paid, and you reach in your pockets and you don't have any cash, and you of course don't have any coins. So it's like, oh shoot, what do I do, right? Old school me, this is what I call the loser dad in me, used to have to drive all the way down to the bank, go to the ATM, get $20, and then I have to go buy a pack of gum at the gas station, 20 to give him the 8.
Carry cash.
Yeah.
We don't carry cash anymore.
Right? Either that, or I would just stiff him, and I would say, I'll give it to you later. Right? That's happened to all of us. It's terrible. So now all you do is you reach into your pocket, because we got our phones on us no matter where we're at, and you tap on the send bonus button. You put $8, or maybe even do 10 because he did a killer job. Boom, boom, done. Like that's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's what. And then all of a sudden you're not the loser dad. You actually reinforce that you're like following through on what you said, right?
Oh wow, I love that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So send bonuses, and don't even and you know, it could be for work, right? It could be for, you know, washing the car or mowing the lawn or doing whatever. But what about stuff like, man, you did such a great job at that piano recital, or you hit a HR at the baseball field, or you hit the 3-pointer in that basketball game. That was so sweet, right? And I told you I was going to give you $5 if you drained the 3 or whatever, right?
Yep.
That kind of thing. It's
No, we're the same. You said $5 for the 3. She would have paid 50.
Whoa!
$5 get us 10 threes.
I'm a cheap skate. You're a high roller. You know, this is just how it works.
Hey,
No
we're,
way.
We're one and the same, Greg.
Right.
But I was going to ask you about games, right? You think about Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad. They have the cash flow game. They have cash flow for kids. Have you thought of, you know, extending the app to the game realm to reinforce some of these, you know, messages and lessons even more?
Like gamification, somewhat. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
We have some ideas down the road, but right now we don't have anything really too gamified. We've really tried to truly mirror reality. Kind of like I said, it's almost like I want to plunk this kid and put him in the real world, right? Where you have to earn money, you get paid on Friday, you get that match if your employer decides they'll match your savings. You know, that kind of stuff is all very much like, I want to teach you about the real world before you get there.
Right.
So when you do get there, you're set up. Like you're set up for success. You're like, oh wait, I know if I work harder, I might get a bonus. right? That's the real world.
Sure.
Or if I save more, I might get some more match money out of my employer, right? A lot of employees leave that on the table, and it's just crazy because it's like free money, right?
Right.
Like all those things are very much reality based for us, and that's kind of where we're at.
Excellent.
So I have a question. Could you talk a little bit about the investing portion? As
Yeah.
far as how are they able to invest from the app, and how does it work? Are you guys partnered with a trading company? Or?
Commissions.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. So when a kid goes out and earns some money, some of that money goes into save. And in that save area, we partnered with a company out of California. It's called Stockpile. Okay. And Stockpiles, they essentially do fractional shares of stock. And so what we've done is we put a list together of all the stocks that we think are important. It's not like we're giving advice, but we're like taking out Budweiser and things like that just don't make sense for a kid, right? So we're trying to give them an experience. And once again, like I said, let them pick it. If they think Pepsi is where it's at, then let them invest in that company or Tesla or whoever they think is, cool. It might be Amazon. Amazon trades at like $3,000 a share. So how are you going to have, your kid buy one share? Like they're not going to, right?
Right.
So this is a great way to buy a fractional share. So what happens mechanically is kids scrolling around, looking at the different brands, because it's all done by brand in our system.
Yeah.
Says, okay, I want to buy some Amazon. Boom, I click on it. I change the amount to 25 or 50 or whatever amount the kid wants to do to spend on the stock. And then you as a parent are going to get a notification that says, Johnny wants $25 worth of Amazon stock. Approve it or not. And then all a parent has to do is say, okay, cool, boom, approve it. That facilitates an email that comes to you as the parent from Stockpile to open up the brokerage account and to redeem that $25 worth of stock. So it's that easy. And every time they do that, you're going to do that same thing, which is you're going to approve the purchase, and then you're going to get an email, and you're going to redeem Tesla next time, and you're going to redeem Walmart the next time. And then all of a sudden, this kid's got a little portfolio. He's got, 5 or 6 or 50 or 60 stocks in there. And boy, isn't that an amazing lesson to learn? And then you're going to get emails from Stockpile that says, Johnny just got a $7 dividend or 50-cent, dividend. And then all of a sudden, boy, doesn't that like set the table for a conversation about like what that means and talk about a stream of income? All of a sudden you've got like dividends and stuff. And I didn't do squat for that money. Right. And that's a great conversation to have with a kid. Now, all of a sudden, they know they like Tesla. They think the cars are cool. They've invested some money, and now they're getting dividends or some gain from that stock or whatever the case may be. Wow, that's amazing.
That is really,
I love that.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Is.
Are there any commissions with the trades or?
Okay, so we've actually negotiated with Stockpile to where there are no commissions for kids to buy the stock. If they ever sell it, then they have to pay Stockpile 99 cents to sell it. But to get into it, which I propose a fairly strong buy and hold kind of philosophy, especially for little kids, for young people, to get into it doesn't cost them anything. So that's an amazing way to teach a very fundamental thing for people who are, generally successful. They usually have some stock experience, right? Or mutual funds or something like that. Yep. We have a couple of index funds in there as well. So this is a great way to let them tiptoe into that whole kind of world. And wouldn't you want them to kind of do that earlier rather than later?
Yep.
Sets them up for success into the future.
That's powerful. Yeah, I mean, the stock market's been on an amazing tear recently, so I'm sure some of the kids are looking at their portfolio if they bought before COVID and looking like, man.
Yeah, and that's a great lesson too. Honestly, I'm glad you brought that up because everybody's a genius in a bull market, right? But that baby's going to come down at some point. It just always does. This is the line, right? This is how it works. And that's a good lesson to learn as well when you're 12 years old and you bought the stock and you think you're hot because it went up, but then it goes down and it's like, oh boy, you know, there is some risk in this. And that's a good lesson to learn as well. You can't just, you know, throw it in there thinking that I'm going to double my money. Like, that's just not how it works, right? Sometimes we're that way, but very often it's this. And to learn those lessons along the way with a little bit of money is super important for a kid.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Are there any other lessons besides those big two pillars that you've learned from some of your clients being a certified financial planner that you try to impart on your kids or through the app?
Yeah, those two are the two biggies. I will give you one more that I think is super important, and it really kind of speaks to parents. A lot of parents are busy themselves, you know, and their lives are crazy. But I think just like entrepreneurs and just like successful business people, they're usually like fairly consistent. Okay, I say fairly consistent because you don't have to be on your A game all day, every day to teach your kids this stuff. Okay, you can fall off once in a while, and you can like have the holidays hit and be like, oh boy, everything went to pot over the last 5 days or whatever, and still be okay. So parents, just like successful business people, need to be fairly consistent with what they're trying to accomplish, right? If they're trying to teach their kids this stuff, you got to be fairly consistent. If you think you can do it in like 1 week and then like, okay, cool, done, they're geniuses now, like that's not going to happen. And you can't kind of get down on yourself and say, well, shoot, we blew it. Like it was Christmas or it was some other holiday and it's like everything went to pot. You just have to start again. It's no big deal. But if you're fairly consistent, they're going to get it.
You're absolutely right about that. And I've definitely learned that homeschooling now. Our 7-year-old.
Horse a few times.
Oh my God.
We have a new respect for teachers.
I'm telling you.
For sure.
Now I see them and I'd be like, oh my God. When someone says, oh, I'm a teacher, I'd be like, oh, thank you for your service.
It's true. It's true. Hard.
It's been a challenge, boy. I mean, a challenge and a half. So I definitely understand consistency is key with them across the board in everything. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier, which was key, is starting early. So for us, we weren't really taught as kids, you know, from our parents about financial literacy because they were never taught that. You know, my mom taught me, one thing she told me growing up was, don't ruin your credit. That was kind of that conversation we had around finance. And my mother was in banking. She's like, listen, when I went to college, she was like, here is a debit card linked to her account. And when I needed money, and you heard me say need, not want, but when I needed money, she would put money in the account for me. But she was like, don't get any credit cards.
And what did you do?
Of course I went and got credit cards because it wasn't any more told to me behind that. Like, listen, don't get credit cards because this is what you're going to need your credit for later. This is what debt is. This is what you want to be able to do once you get out of college. It wasn't those conversations. It was just, don't go and get a bunch of credit cards. Don't go and get any credit cards. Don't ruin your credit. That was it. And for him, his mom she taught you more about. Yeah,
she taught me about credit, but she actually helped me build my credit. So by the time I graduated college, I had like a 750 credit score because she actually like really drilled it into my head, the importance of credit. So yeah, it's important what you put into your kids at that young age. Right,
which is why I felt this app was so important when I had looked into it and then went through, because when you go on the app store, you get to see all the information and things of that nature, and then the website, because it allows us to teach our kids early.
Yeah.
In real time.
It's one of those life lessons, right? It's literally, I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but I really mean it. After you teach your kids not to steal and beat people up, you should teach them how to work and manage their money right, because they're going to be doing it every single day. Like never stops. So you kind of got to get good at it. And if you don't, you're just going to be stuck for a long time. And so it's really, actually, it's probably the most empowering thing that you can really do for them, kind of, is to teach them those two things, because that's going to make their life a lot different if they're good at them than if they're not.
Absolutely. And one of the things, our son tends to ask us now, as he gets older and gets real inquisitive, he's asked us lately is, so how much money do we have? And me and my husband will look and we say, whatever is in your piggy bank is what you have.
He's like, how much do we have? Oh,
right. And he'll be like, well, how many houses do we own? You don't own any houses.
Very
Mommy, I thought you said you don't own any houses. Mommy and Daddy owns a lot of houses.
One day.
And we tell him, and we tell people, especially when we're traveling and we're speaking at conferences and things of that nature, one of the biggest questions we get asked is, just about generational wealth and things of that nature. And we have to let them know that we're not giving our kids anything.
Right.
We're going to teach them the business.
You guys are going to give it to me. Isn't
right.
that what we had?
Right. And people get that misconstrued with, oh my God, I'm building this to give to my kids. We're not doing that. If they didn't swing a hammer, they're not getting anything. If they didn't get out here and hustle to get this house the way we did, they're not getting it. We're building it so that one day, hopefully they'll take over from learning the business, working in the business, understanding what's going on in the business. And I think that's where me and my husband kind of align when it comes to this. He's like real frugal. I'm going to say frugal is a nice word.
You can just say cheap. She just wants to say cheap.
That guy's a cheapskate, huh? So am I. I like it.
Yeah, my husband is super, super cheap. I mean, he plays zero games with finances, but that's why I kind of married him.
Because she's not cheap.
I'm not cheap, but
that and his good looks. I mean, come on.
Right. You're right.
Thanks, Greg.
Look.
The check is in the mail.
Now, you're right, though. That was part of it. He looked real good in a suit. So I was like, okay. Because I met him in a suit. I was like, okay.
Blush, yeah.
I said, okay. But I married him because he was really good with finances. And I wasn't. And it wasn't that I spent a lot of money. It was just that
the education.
I didn't have the education behind, in finance. And I gave away a lot. So that was my thing.
She's
like,
a giver.
I'm a giver.
Gives, donates. She would be a philanthropist full time.
Right. That's my goal. Is literally to be a philanthropist. But I didn't have that financial knowledge growing up at all. And from a kid, literally from, I think my mother would say maybe like 5 or 6 years old, I was always giving away everything of ours. Food to people who didn't have it, money, clothes. And my mother was a single parent with 4 kids. So, for her, that just blew her mind. Like, what are you doing? But she couldn't say don't, because she didn't want to stifle me as being that person who wanted to always make sure I took care of other people.
Right.
So when I met him, he was the total opposite. And that's what made me want to make sure our kids was financially literate in it. Like, because of how he was when I met him and how he is actually right now. Still
books upstairs.
Till this day, like our entire library is on financial literacy. Everything is on, books is on that.
Yeah.
Well, and you really make a good point, which is, once again, you can't just give it all away. It has to be a balanced approach, right?
Yeah.
It's just got to be part of that balanced approach. And if you do it that way, it works out.
Yeah. And on the point, this is one of the final questions here. And generational wealth is something that's very important to us and a lot of our people who follow us. What are your thoughts on, passing on, how you pass on generational wealth to your kids?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. So, I think I tend to agree with you. I don't think giving a bunch of money to kids is particularly a good idea. Now, if you live till you're 85 or 90 years old and your kids are 60, well, you can pretty much figure like if they're good to go or not, right?
Right.
And if they're pretty good and they're pretty solid at that stage in their life, great. Just give them the money. They'll probably do some great things with it, right? If they're irresponsible and a total disaster, you're just going to make it worse. So I guess my overall philosophy on that is, I think money kind of exacerbates who you actually are anyways. So if you're a very nice, generous, giving person and you come into a bunch of money, you're probably just that much more nice and giving and generous.
Right.
If you're kind of a stinker and you get a bunch more money, you're probably just gonna be more of a stinker. So I think that's kind of how it works. And in my mind, that's the philosophy of generational wealth. It could probably be a real big blessing to people who got it together, and it could be a curse for those that don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So how can people, find you? How do they download the app? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so easy. It's just busykid.com. And we're in the app stores, the Apple App Store and Android. And we want to be everywhere where families are. And we want to literally be in the pockets of the people who are making it happen. So that's really what Busy Kid's all about, is empowering families to really teach their kids about money in a way that sets them up for success into the future. And it's technology driven. It's one of those things that if you leverage technology in a positive way, you'll have a great outcome. I see so many families getting kind of sucked into, I think, the wrong stuff when it comes to their phones and their electronic devices. They're wasting their lives on Instagram and messing around all the time. Why not leverage this to teach them something that's literally going to make them get them set up for success into the future? It can be a very positive thing, and you don't have to cuss their phone every 5 minutes,
right,
but they're doing the right stuff with it. So use it as a tool to set your kid up for success, and it'll happen. So I've got 4 over 18 now, and literally every one of them has thousands and thousands of dollars saved up, and it's all not coming from me. Some of it did by doing stuff around this place, but a lot of it didn't. But they learned the fundamentals. And then once again, we're trying to train them for reality, right? So when they go to an employer and they're like busting it out and being responsible and following up and getting it done, the employer loves it. So all of a sudden, and they save and they share and they spend, that balanced financial approach, next thing you know, they got a lot of money. They got more money than I do. So it's amazing, right?
So question on that. Do any of them work with you? You got 4 over 18?
Yeah, I've got one that's working with me now. He's going to college full time, but he also does some work with us on the side. So he's working with us. I've got 2 daughters who are in, they're both waiting they've been accepted to dental hygiene school. They're waiting for that to start. And then the other one just turned 18 like 2 weeks ago. So I told him he needs to get out of the house. So, no, he's great. He's in high school, and he'll be graduating here a little early, but he's still at home. So.
So how's the youngest?
The youngest is 13. So I got 13, 15, 18, 20, 21, 22.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And the 21-year-old just got married last week. So that
wow, congratulations.
22 is already married. So holy smokes, they grow up fast.
Wow. I hope not over here, because I would be devastated. 2 boys. I'm that helicopter mom. So
get ready. It's going to happen.
I hope they get married in their 40s.
No, 20s.
Yeah.
Thank
Greg,
you so much, Greg. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for what you're doing and how you're making it happen with all these people out there. And people can't be educated enough with all this. It's really a good thing to do. So thanks for the